Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Ad Barak, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who catches this message. It's time for a party. Today's party is called Zahin Dalet Kof. We're going to listen to a little bit of music before we get things kicked off. Allow some people to come into the room. We'll start with Psalm 1. Psalms 1. That was Psalms 1, brought to you by Cold Before Diamond. Next up, another song by Cold Before Diamond is called Yahweh You Reign. I want to thank you all for stopping through. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. Amazing. Achim Yahav Elohim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. Thank you all for coming to the party. Today's party is called Zain Dalet Kof. Chose those specific characters for a reason. It's time to do some exploring and some research. Time to find out what is hidden when you pick up a book and read it. Pardon me for just a moment. For everybody who happens to be in TikTok land, I'm signing in so I can see who's there. I'm on both YouTube and TikTok. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you. Once again, thank you all for being here. Zadoq, Zain, Dalet. Got two more songs we're going to play while we let some more people come into the room. If you're wondering about the scribbles on that page there in front of you, this notebook is from when I was doing some studies as an A+ technician, learning the ins and outs of a motherboard. Before I knew what, um, oh man, now I can't think of the word. There's a certain sport that people do where they go running and jumping across buildings and obstacles. Before I knew what that was, my friends and I used to do that. We wouldn't jump from building to building. Buildings aren't close enough for you to do that in the city that we were in. Any other time I'd be able to tell you that word. It escapes me right now. Parkour. Before I knew what parkour was, my friends and I would go to this park, and there was a water plant there. Excuse me. There was also a picnic area. There was a big grassy meadow field, and then beside it was some stones. There had been paved out a place for everyone to stand around, sit, and there was a wall. The wall led up to the height of where the ground and the grass met to go back towards the water plant. And then you could also go in another direction and go through the rest of the park. It was a scenic lookout. So we would go there and jump across the picnic tables. They were made of concrete. Jump down off the wall, jump across to the table, jump over to the middle table, jump over to the third table, jump back up on the wall, run out into the grass, do a few flips. There was a lantern there. So we would swing around the pole right next to the wall and then jump from the wall back down to the table and do it again. Cycles. Zadoq. Our interest is Malachai Zadoq. So today's party is brought to you by Zain Dalet Quaf. Two more songs. This next song is called Destiny and Journey. It's brought to you by 3P Rouge.
World Wide Web. World Wide Web.
All the things relate infinity. See, actually, have Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allah bless, Shalom Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thanks for coming, brother.
World Wide Web. Well, I'm standing on the corner of Destiny and Journey, learning legalese so I won't need attorneys. Things are getting way too shy, it's down in dirty south. No innovations coming out of players' mouths. Time to head for the border, take my crew on an Iliad. Reach out and touch the world, exposed to 10% affiliates. But now I'm sure you guess, we live in continental US. And we won't stop until we blow up the spot in Bangladesh. It's a mystery how such a small crowd controls the currency, while the rest of us are rats running on wheels in laboratories. False freedom society is only a maze for chasing cheese. The world spins 360 degrees, and so can you. Pick up the game from Parker Brothers, ain't gonna get a clue. Wait a minute, let's take it back stateside. Pangea is the web of our thoughts worldwide. Wait a minute, let's take it back stateside. Pangea is the web of our thoughts worldwide. Worldwide, trapped in Groundhog's Day, why repeat yourself? Playing virtual reality, pretending you an elf. If it wasn't for my ijtihad, I'd be a thief or assassin. Quiet panther, stalking while you're raising rockers blasting. Seems the only sound investment these days is black jackets and caskets. I got a subterranean locomotive headed straight for Canada. Need some Medicaid, socialism's the only answer. Mosey on down to the shores of the Caribbean. Start speaking in tongues, make them think I'm Bolivian. Organized Aztec protests at the doors of Mopec. Cause there's some villains, making trillions, take it till nothing is left. Move on to the jungles, strap myself to some trees, save the rainforest so our planet can breathe. Or would you rather die because it killed the cure to your simple disease? Steady propagating social crime called greed. Corporations stealing land from aborigines with no treaties. Wait a minute, let's take it back stateside. Pangea is the web of our thoughts worldwide. What about the Monroe Doctrine? Rip it up, burn it, and cast it to the four winds. Enemies trading secrets for lies told on friends. So let's take it across the ocean to the land of my hide. The core of my body shakes like ropes in a royal rumble. Native tribes committing genocide to the alien beat of humble mumble. Apartheid hasn't died, it's just no longer covered. The smell of death is in the air, sky overcast, the baby boom of the buzzard. Why is it the empires must colonize everything they discovered? Put a brick wall between you and the land called mother. Hypothetically, you can't discover what's already there. So who are you to tell me how to walk, talk, and wear my hair? And what's up with this free zone? No flying over holy land, fighting over oil and sand. From the streets of Turkey and Israel to the dunes of Iran and Afghanistan. All of your holy books told you how to survive in this place. The last time I checked, we were all humans in the same race, supposedly cognitive. So tell me, what the hell are you doing? Civilization and things falling apart, we're marching off to ruin. Let's take it back stateside. Pangea is the web of all thoughts worldwide. Worldwide web. to learn from mistakes, like re-engineering buildings on the sites of earthquakes. Strapped to life preservers on to your feet. Take a stroll on the beach on the search for some eats. It takes a while to find something agrarian. Go to Mesopotamia and find the Bavarians. Maybe go to Europe, smoke some hash and walk through tulips. Take a tour through the Caucasus Mountains and flow some knowledge on your ass from the peaks of Shiraz, but we're not through. The Filipinos, Indians, and Chinese have been patiently waiting like the Haitians, staging demonstrations, meeting you free, and you be you. Leave me alone to do what I must do. I believe in the eightfold path that must be right. Because you find it inserted in every world religion in sight. Not only that, but let's take it to the Swiss Alps. The population is in order with no split the scalps. So what's up, Mr. President? I don't mean to rush ya, but can you tell me what you plan to do about Poland and Russia? Hey, wait a minute. Let's take it back stateside and get in the web of all thoughts worldwide. Worldwide web.
That was Destiny and Journey, brought to you by yours truly. Ryan, Allahu Assalamu alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your family, and your circle. Let's pray. Thank you all for joining. Today's party is brought to you by the characters Zain, Dalet, Kof. Why? Well, that's how you get Zadoq. Today's party is brought to you by Doc. I've been doing a little bit of studying because there's not a lot of mention about Malachai Zadoq. Most people are familiar with Melchizedek. Got to start somewhere. So we got one more song. After this song, got a few words I'd like to exchange with you all. Feel free at any moment to comment or ask questions. Yes, there's an actual schedule for this particular live and any live that I do. Yet, yes, you are welcome to question and comment at any time. All right. This next song, it's also brought to you by 3P Roche. The song is called Zain Dalet Kof.
Zayn,
The son of man
Zayn,
has no home.
Zayn, Dalet, Kof, Zayn,
Zayn,
Dalet,
Dalet,
Kof,
Son of man or son of God, they're not the same. Keep your mysticism. Mythology is not my guide. Zayn, Dalet,
I'm a tool, slash spin, pressure pressing, like a blast from wind, split beats like sheep, scattered after disproving thoughts. Take a walk, observing the garden, pruning before the conception of the splice. 50 shades of pepper for your spice, on your cooked rice. A Nazi is the high priest of the same legion. The first phase, likened to disorder, the signs of corner. Still some miscriterion.
the son of man has no home.
Kof, son of man or son of God, they're not the same.
Keep your mysticism. Mythology is not my guide.
at the break of dawn. Why stunt your yawn with a yawn? The man would have done better gathering and collecting the thoughts of his father, right next to his disowned son. People running a yard for miles talking yo, which is Yiddish, making people skittish to represent the will of Yahweh. How can there be a city where our Creator resides if mankind is ruled by being a typical pride? Yahweh is a start, yet many miss living according to Joseph's heart. Zayn, the last, no home. Zayn, the last, cough. Son of man or son of God, they're not the same. Keep your mysticism. Mythology is not my guide. Cycles of severity. Time is precious, like currency. Use your potential to be kinetic. Come and flow with me. Sand grains on the beach coming in and leave. Water from the tide. Turbulent commotion. Polishes wild footprints. Evidence of traffic is no longer seen. Replacement remnants and debris. Driftwood and seaweed. Sun-dried, but tingling. Sun-drenched for essential vitamins and mineral baths. What's the meaning of life, they ask? Turn your work into utilizing the talent you were born with. Miss me with menial tasks. Off, Zayn, the son of man. Off, son of man or son of God. They're not the same.
That was Zayn Dalet Koff. Brought to you by 3P Rouge. 3P ROJH. Hashem Yahav Alahim. Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon everyone who is catching this message. Today's party is brought to you by the Order of Malachai Zadoq. We don't get to hear too much about the Order of Malachai Zadoq. This is going to be a hard one. I want this picture in the screen, but I don't really have anything to prop this notebook up to where it stay. So I'll just tell a quick short story. It takes 30 years to master the monkey technique in Kung Fu. There's also the mantis, snake, tiger, and there's either crane or eagle. Instead of the stick figures that you saw This picture I'm just showing you something where it's a little more closer. Each of these pictures can be taken frame by frame, and I could actually show stop motion of what was going on. But I'm leaving it to your imagination. I'm sure you can figure out a couple of things, right? Rolling and tumbling and so on and so forth, running and jumping. All of that from learning a few moves in Tai Chi and a few moves, applying ability, skill with practice, with a controlled fist, discipline. Today's party is brought to you by the Order of Malachai Zadoq. Some people think Malachai Zadoq was one person. Some people think Malachai Zadoq was this great king. Lately, I have been hearing that the mentions in the Bible, anytime the phrase Son of Man comes up, we're supposed to refer to that as our Messiah. Now, I can agree with that part because there's more than one Messiah who is mentioned in the Bible, more than one person who happened to have been a Messiah. It takes looking up the definition of Messiah to have a better understanding of that. Now, the issue is most people have attributed the definition of Messiah to only Yahashua. Now, on top of that, you got people who are stuck on calling Yahashua HaMashiach. They want to say all of those incidents in what is called Old Testament, where the Son of Man shows up. Well, that's supposed to be Jesus Christ. Well, I can't go for that. I won't go for that. I refuse to acknowledge that as the truth. Now, this image that you're looking at, like I said, this book, when I was studying to be an A+ technician. So what you're looking at now is your standard memory block. There's 64,000. There's 1,024, 384,000, 640,000. That's separated for conventional memory, for your DOS storage, your color text and memo text, for your video RAM, your system BIOS. There's reserve memory for your BIOS programs. And then there's your extended memory. Certain memory for certain functions are stored in certain places. Yahushua HaMashiach was born in the flesh once He didn't pop in and out throughout existence because there were other people who were born in the flesh and had the ability to maintain that faculty, to be that person before Yahashua HaMashiach came along. If you read your Bible, you read about those people all the time. Elijah, Elisha. I'm looking at checking out the story of Jonah. I want to find out if he was part of the order of Malachai Zadoq, or was he just picked out to go and deliver a message? Kati Mavis, I see you. It's fair to about to have you here. Hashem Yahavalahim, Shalom Barak, Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your family, and your circle. We were just starting up. I was explaining that I find it quite inconvenient, odd, and deceptive that people keep saying that Jesus Christ is Son of Man all throughout Old Testament. That's the person, the being that is being spoken of. All prophecies refer to him. And that isn't the case. Each of the people who are being spoken of during those passages, it's talking about them. Those people of note. The story is about them. Adam was a Messiah. His son Seth was a Messiah. Methuselah and Noah, Abraham, Moses. They were anointed ones who led the people and taught the people in order for them to be able to conduct themselves according to the standards of Yahweh Elohim. A leader doesn't just lead you for life, because there comes a time when you stand on your own with your own strength. You might find another leader, or you might find the leader in you. Today's party is brought to you by Zain Dalet Kof. Usually we get together 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because we do have 10 different special interest groups that we would speak on, talking about ethics in entrepreneurship. Well, we're going to take a break away from that because I'm going to tell you where my ethics come from. My ethics come from following the divine path. Those who say that they do that walk amongst those who are in the order of Malachai Zadoq. There's a mention in the New Testament concerning our Messiah being part of the priestly order of Malachai Zadoq. So if he's part of it, it means that there's more. In the same passage, it also says, Yahashua HaMashiach is not a Levite. He doesn't come from that lineage, nor was he taught that way. He walked a completely different way. That is something to take note of. So while the focus may be on the house of Israel, we need to take note of why wouldn't Yahushua HaMashiach have come from the lineage of Levites? Not only that, why and how was he taught a different way? What is the order of Zadoq? So instead of the 10 special interest groups, I've got 10 different precepts for us to talk about. Today, we're just going to run through what they are, and we're going to hit the first one. The first one is Zayin Dalet Kof. After that, we're going to look at the two phrases, Son of Man and Son of God. Those two phrases don't mean the same thing. Has anyone ever heard someone say, Son of Man has no home? We're going to put that one under discussion. The root of the order of Malachai Zadoq. Where does it come from? Where did this order of Malachai Zadoq come? The first 5 books of the Bible, some people call the Pentateuch. The first 5 books were assembled at least 3,600 years ago. And there's question about that. It could have been 2,500 years ago. So we're going to do some date checking and some fact checking. Because if the first 5 books were assembled 3,600 years ago, and it's attributed to Moses having written, it means the Exodus 3,600 years ago. And Moses was doing a lot of writing. But we're going to get to that. Chronicles and Kings. The activity of the lineage. A given name was the standard. Methuselah lived to be 999 years old. Well, how did he do that? He was blessed. Well, how was he blessed? For 999 years, people carried on with those traditions. It may have started with Methuselah's great 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 grandfather. And for every first child, they were dedicated to the teachings of that first Methuselah. And it was carried on and honored throughout. After Methuselah came Noah. Noah was Methuselah's grandson. It should have been handed to Lamech. But instead, it was handed to Noah. We've got prophets, history, standards, and strategy. That's what you'll find in a section of the Bible after you get through reading the Pentateuch. We're going to catch up with Psalms and Proverbs in just a moment. When you get through Chronicles and Kings, then you're going to start reading about some prophets, which tells you the history. The prophets assembled those books because they needed to remind people what the standards were. The issue is most people ignored it. And not only did they ignore it, Shukrana, not only did they ignore it, they acted like there wouldn't be a consequence. We're going to get into those standards too. There's one main standard. Honor your creator. Put no deity before him. Number 1 rule. That means that there's no room for polytheism. There's no room to even acknowledge that any other power exists. So there's no reason to say the highest power because there's only one source. Subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises to our source of sustenance and mercy. So when the people didn't follow through with the standards, the prophets would come with a strategy of how to deal with the invaders because the invaders were going to come. The invaders said, well, we do come with certain deities, and our deity is stronger than what you call your creator or whoever this is that rules you. There was a test there. It was a test of faith and it was a test of work. How many people were going to be willing to go out on the battlefield to represent our creator, no matter what came at them? Didn't matter if they died or not. There would be more honor to die on the battlefield representing our creator than a deity that really doesn't exist. Eyes that can't see, ears that can't hear, and a mouth with which no food to eat. Funny thing is, even after the prophets would come with a strategy, because they knew the people were coming, still, the people of the book would be very disobedient. There's been times before where we've gone through and we did studies of both Quran and Bible at the same time. Adon willing, Lord willing, we'll get right back to that. There's a few things I'm trying to accomplish. However, it saddens me when I open up my device and I go to social media and I'm seeing people debate about things that have nothing to do with ensuring that there's a city called Yahweh is there. People debate about the strangest things. People debate about how you pronounce certain words. None of us were back there then. None of us. The language that would have been spoken has been replaced so long ago. And most people are speaking a tongue that is Mycenaean, Greek. Most people are carrying on cultures that are Babylonian in tradition because people are so busy trying to rekindle the fires behind all those little festivals that happen in between occupation. What occupation? Well, Babylon. I think there was a time Syria. Another time was Greece and Rome. So it's Babylon, Syria, Babylon again. Then you got Greece and Rome just took over. Mycenae. There was the occupation of Egypt. People took on the tendencies of Kemet and forgot what Abraham taught, forgot what Noah taught. Now, some kind of way, Abraham actually learned from Noah because Noah lived to be 700 and something years old. So along the way, Abraham was teaching quite a lot of people as well. His first son was Ishmael. Give your firstborn to the temple. Or you get invaded a certain amount of times and go under servitude of other people, and then they subject you to their rules, it's going to change your standards unless you decide to rebel against the standards of your oppressor. So the standards they kept changing. If you read the Bible, you don't hear a whole lot about the children of Israel rebelled against the oppressor. Usually the story is something about the children of Israel rebelled against their creator. That was, is, and always shall be the issue. Reading through the Bible, that's exactly what you're going to find. For every story, there's going to be one side where the person did what they were supposed to do. They became prosperous because they were obedient. Those who decided to not follow the standard wound up being punished along with generations after them because they were making decisions that affected their family, that affected their legacy, that affected their livelihoods, that affected the stability of their society and community. If you lie to your neighbor, then your neighbor can't trust you. If you got a community full of neighbors that don't trust each other, then you can't form a community trust. Selah. So we'll have a little discussion about the subjugated and subjected ones. And then from regional language to cultural dialect, adopting and cherry picking opposed to non-tolerance. Regional language to cultural dialect. At the time of Moses, and even at the time of Joshua, one of the 12 brothers, Joshua, when Kemet was one of the major dynasties and influences, during that time, there were several different languages being spoken by the people who lived in the area because you have a few large cities and port towns along the coastline of the Mediterranean Sea. Then you also have the River Nile itself, where there would be port towns along the river. People who were in boats could travel all along that coastline of the Mediterranean Sea because it's basically a circle. It wasn't that all of the people were segregated. People had been intermixing before Kemet even existed. Kemet comes from Axum. Axum is what we would call Ethiopia. Kemet is several hundred miles away from Axum because they took some of the traditions. The Kemetians took some of the traditions from Axum and moved to that other location, changed a few things, and said, this is the way we're going to do it. They were separated. However, that didn't stop people from still communicating. They just occupied a different region. The people on that continent that they call Africa, some call it Al Kebulan. Same thing for Asia. Being Asib, Hashem Yahavalahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon you, your family, and your circle. Very to to have you here, brother. There's a whole circle inside of the Mediterranean Sea, what we call Portugal, what we call Spain, Italy, Germany, Greece, Turkey, Israel, Sinai Peninsula, Egypt, Algiers, Tunisia, the Rock of Gibraltar. That's all one circle. And there are a lot of different cultures in that circle. They were there before 3,600 years ago. By the time our Messiah, Yahshua, came along, the story says that he was brought up in Egypt. Well, Egypt stretched across a lot of space at that time, not the country that we see today. Because it's not about the invisible lines. It's about the cultural influence. It's about the dialect that the people speak. So, the people of Egypt moved away from Axiom and established a place called Kemet. But when they left Axiom, they still had the tongue from Axiom. That would be Ge'ez. Ge'ez. Now, in this area that the Commissions occupied, there were also some people called Berbers. They spoke a specific language. And they were comprised of a lot of different people and a lot of different traditions and a lot of different cultures and a lot of different dialects. Now, not only was there the Berbers, but then you do have people like Joseph, son of Jacob, Israel. They would have spoken the tongue of the Hyksos. The Hyksos are the nomad shepherd kings from the north. They would have been north of Kemet. That's Israel. That's where Joseph came from. So the language of the Hyksos would have been heard in the marketplace in territories of Kemet. The language of the Berbers would have been heard. And then if you went further east from the land of the Hyksos, you would find Farsi, later to be called Persia. Well, you would hear those tongues in the marketplace as well. And then there was a mix and a blend called Amharic. Today we have a language called Swahili. Some people would say they can hear Persian, Farsi in it. Some people would say they can hear Spanish. You hear all kinds of stuff. Why? Because Swahili comes from Latin. What's Latin? Farsi. But if you look at Ge'ez, they're going to tell you it comes from Southern Farsi, South Persia. The language of Ge'ez comes from a land directly across from, there's a waterway, directly across from the Persian Gulf. You got Aksum, and then you got South Persia. So we're going to tap into that because Ge'ez was the language that was used for historical records. That's the language that was used for accounting. Ge'ez. And Ge'ez could be read by people who read Farsi. And those who read Farsi are not very far away from those who speak the Hyksos language. There's a big old circle of Shem for you. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the Sanhedrin and the Nazi. We're going to talk about Levites and Malachai Zadoq. And then we're going to talk about the assembly and Kohelet. That's going to be Ecclesiastes Day. So we got 10 different things. We got 10 different days, starting with today. Alhamdulillah. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. All praises to the most esteemed Rabbi. I want to thank everybody who's come to the party and has spent this time. Hashem Yahav Alahim Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum. Father's peace, blessings upon all of you, families, and your circles. Those are the ones who are here now and those who will check this out at a later date. This party is brought to you by Zain Dalet Waf. For those of you who are in Bible studies, we're about to go to Psalms 119. I have a short discussion about those three characters. And it mainly involves reading what those verses say. You don't have to sound off when you found the scripture. Just know that, yes, I'm about to open up a Bible and go directly to the scripture. All right, here we go. Your word is a lamp to my feet. We're going to start with the character Zayn. It's the seventh character. Psalms 119, verses 49 through 56. Zayn. Remember your word to your servant, me hope. This is my comfort in my affliction, that your promise gives me life. The insolent utterly deride me, but I do not turn away from your law. When I think of your rules from old, I take comfort, O Adam. Hot indignation seizes me because of the wicked, who forsake your law. Your statutes have been my songs in the house of my sojourning. I remember your name in the night, O Adon, and keep your law. This blessing has fallen to me that I have kept your precepts. Zayn is a tool. It is a form of a sword, or it can be a gardener's tool, pruning trees, bushes, tall wheat and tear. As a tool, you don't have too much choice as a tool because it means somebody else is going to put you to use. Now, Zion could be used as a weapon of destruction, taking a life. Yet it can also be used for something that feeds a person, a family, a village, a township. In order to forge a Zion, you have to temper metal, you have to sharpen it because it has to be durable. It doesn't need to be breaking when swung against a branch and used like a hatchet. It doesn't need to be so dull that it can't cut down big swaths of wheat and tear in a field so you can clear it and make camp. Use that same chopped down brush and grass for fire, kindling, get something started with it. A scion has to stand on its purpose. It can't do something else except for what it was actually made to do. As a tool, its purpose is to serve. So in this song, think about it. I want to have the resolve, the solid resolve to serve because you gave me a solid word. You gave me a solid promise. If I follow in your standards, do the way that you say, even the people around me will be able to eat, not just physically, but also spiritually. If I use myself properly as a tool, or if I put myself in the hands of someone else, we make sure that we are properly guided. We make sure we're on the same path. We make sure we're seeing the same page. Make sure we are in proper communication, understanding. Next up, Dalit, fourth character, Psalms 119, 25 through 32. Dalit, my soul clings to the dust. Give me life according to your word. When I told of my ways, you answered. Teach me your statutes. Make me understand the way of your precepts, and I will meditate on your wondrous works. My soul melts away for sorrow. Strengthen me according to your word. Put false ways far from me, and graciously teach me your law. I have chosen the way of faithfulness. I set your rules before me. I cling to your testimonies, O Adon. Let me not be put to shame. I will run in the way of your commandments when you enlarge my heart. Dalet is known as a door, opportunities. Sometimes just something for you to peek through and see, an eye opener. My soul clings to the dust. Give me life according to your word. But memory serves me correct. There was a certain prophet that was riding along on a mule, and he stopped to eat because he was hungry. And he was visited. Remember, I was telling you all earlier, and there was a vision. It was a visage, Visage. It was a visage of our Lord on high. Now we're told no man has actually seen the face of our Creator, because if he did so, it would strike you down immediately. Not the face, the radiance, the glory, the power, the righteousness, to see our actual Creator. Each of us will have that day when we pass away from this realm and go talk to our Creator. Meanwhile, if it says that the person had a vision, that's in their mind's eye. If it says a person appeared as a visage, that means there was a person in front of them who represented the standards of Yahweh. So they were so radiant with who they were as a person that they shone that way. They had the actual authority to speak of Yahweh, to speak on it, teach on it, because they live by it. A person is not just anointed because they were born by birthright. It takes what your soul was intended to do upon creation in heaven near the emerald throne, in the emerald throne room. Your soul was created. Let there be light. Well, your souls and everything else were there. People even want to say that Yahashua HaMashiach is the word, therefore he is our creator. No. Yahashua HaMashiach was created. And we do not give any helpers to our creator as far as saying they are right along the lines with that. No, our creator is one. There is one. He sends facets and faculties out to help us. An angel is a messenger. Not somebody running around wearing a robe with wings. You've heard me say, oh, Adon, not Adonai. I is landlord. It's a title that would have been taken by a man saying that they were next to the title Adon, Lord over all worlds, Elohim. Some know him as Allah. Dolet is a door. And there was a prophet who was riding a mule and he decided to stop. And he was visited. And he was asked, do you think it's possible for people to come out of that dusty city over there? Do you think is it possible for it to be revived? The prophet said, I have my doubts. Can you prove it? I don't see how it would be possible. He wound up taking a nap, and when he woke up, his donkey, his mule, was emaciated. His food was gone, spoiled. But there were people. The same way that he got tapped again, the mule came back, his food came back, the people were gone, was the proof. Now, was it a vision or was there a visage? It depends on which text that you read. Which doorway have you opened so that when you put your eyes on that scene, you're able to take in what's actually there? Those stories, when we're reading them in the Bible, is going to tell you who was touched and given a vision in order for them to send out a message. The message opened the doorway. I don't know if this city can be returned from dust. Let's go back to that verse one more time. My soul clings to the dust. Give me life according to your word. We all have a mind, a body, and a soul. Soul clings to the dust. Soul clings to that from which we are made. Does it have to? No. The dust is earthly things, fleshly things. We have a mind, we have a body, and we have a soul. Your mind, that's the seat of your spirit. That's your personality. Your soul was connected to some dust, to some flesh, so that you would have life and able to breathe. Now, that would just make you a machine. Each of us are unique because we all were born with different talents. We're all born with different personalities. Your personality is shaped by your environment as you navigate through life. The way that you adjust to circumstances around people, or even when you're alone. Because, yes, you even have a personality when you are alone. Some people haven't gotten past letting their soul know that we don't have to clutch at the dust. There is more meant for us. Because when you start doing activities that are actually your natural born talent, when you start doing those activities to serve other people, it frees your mind because you are able to do the things that you do. It frees your soul from the dust. Most people, when you mention to them about let's go start a business, the first thing they want to do is the things that are going to cost you $100,000. Before you even get to spending a dollar, there are things you can do with your talent, something out of nothing. Well, I'll get on it soon. How about right now? What can you do right now? Nurture our world. We don't have later. We are not promised tomorrow. It is our Father's will whether we shall live and breathe. We can't plan for tomorrow. You can barely plan for the next 5 minutes because it is Adon's will. Inshallah, it is our Father's will. And there's a big difference in that lifestyle compared to the lifestyle that most people live. They'll tell you about their will and testament before they tell you about Allah's will, before they want to tell you about Adon's will. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That means that people are supposed to be actively doing that on a daily, constant basis. I turn on my device and all I see is a bunch of people arguing about how to be a proper American, which side to choose in these wars, who to be a fan for, how to be a fanatic, how to be overly zealous for things that are detrimental to not just self, not just family, all the way through to legacy. People barely live in 999 days, let alone 999 years, because people are clutching at dust instead of adding some water and putting a seed there, growing some. Zayn is a tool. Dalet is a door. Let's look at Kof. We're going to Psalm 119, 145 through 152. Kof. With my whole heart I cry. Answer me, O Adon. I will keep your statutes. I call to you, save me, that I may observe your testimonies. I rise before dawn and cry for help. I hope in your words. My eyes are awake before the watches of the night, that I may meditate on your promise. Hear my voice according to your steadfast love. O Adon, according to your justice, give me life. They draw near who persecute me with evil purpose. They are far from your law, but you are near, O Adon, and all your commandments are true. Long have I known from your testimonies that you have founded them forever. Cough represents cycles, but I went to check on something. Because, for every word, they want to give you another meaning. For every character, they want to tell you there's 3 or 4 different things it could mean as well. So we have cycles. Then I found something else. It was follow or follower. And to go along with that, follower like an ape. That one hit me, but I didn't like it too much. And you see, that's because, as I mentioned earlier, we do understand that all of the scriptures that we deem holy or righteous have been translated. And the thing is, when something gets, some of the meaning can get lost when it's translated from one language. The language of Axum, the language of Kemet, the language of the Berbers, the language of the Hyksos, and the language of the Farsi were similar. Their stories were similar because it was a shared story, it was a shared culture. Not everybody did according to the pure way, according to the divine path. However, the information of how to do it was always available. The information of how to live the divine path was always available, is always available. But we're talking about 3,600 years ago. We're talking 6,000 years. Now, there came a point when the Mycenaeans decided they wanted to take the things that they had been learning from the Pharisees and the Sadducees. They wanted to take it back home, study it, figure it out, and then come back with their own version in their language because they needed for their people to understand this language, this culture. Eventually, let's just say the sandbox got taken over by some people wearing different suits. And they came back with some paperwork saying, yeah, we like what you did, but we went back home and we came up with something else. We're going to keep what you, so your stuff is in there, but it's on our terms. This happened. The reason why this happened, the reason why there was even a reason to have written scripts was because there had to be one common standard. What was going to be canon? What was going to be recognized as reliable that everybody used for common ground? So yeah, the Mycenaeans went home, came back, said, okay, this is how we're going to do it. The Mycenaeans forgot about the order of Malachai Zadoq and basically wanted you to do the same. Not just you, oh, dear listener, that's catching the message right now. They didn't want the full message out there. That's why it has taken so long for the message to reach the 4 corners of the earth. That doesn't mean that the planet Earth is flat and shaped like a square. The 4 corners represent north, south, east, and west. We have been traveling on this planet for quite a while. And right now, we're rocking and rolling on a boat. Because we've been rocking and rolling since before the electric guitar. We've been rocking and rolling on boats since before those boats that nobody wants to talk about. We were traveling, visiting, and casting nets. Let's look forward to meet up for the next few days so that we can discuss the order of Malachai Zadoq, so that we can actually put our eyes on what it means when someone says they're walking the divine path. What is the divine path? Who walks it and how do you walk it? Let's look forward to getting together. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to thank all of you who have stuck around for the party and for anyone who comes in and catches it out later on. Tadar, Shukran, Gracias, Grazie, Molto Grazie, Ashante, Spasibo. Thank you. Yahava Ahaba. For those of you who say, Our Father is love. Love is an action. When you see someone in need, go help them out. If you see them in need, you don't have to ask them, do you need help? Go up and give them help. If you can't, go find someone who can. Don't expect a thank you. That's not what it's about. You are taking that moment in life to show empathy and compassion. Because kindness is contagious. Ametaba, ametofo. That's the way to say compassion in Japanese and Chinese, respectively. We're going to play another song on the way out. It's a repeat of one you just heard earlier. We're going to make it the theme. So on the intro of the party and on the outro of the party, we're going to jam to this song. Zayn, Dalet, Kof.
Zayn,
The son of man
Zayn,
has no home.
Zayn, Dalet, Kof, Zayn,
Zayn,
Dalet,
Dalet,
Kof,
Kof. Son of man or son of God, they're not. Not the same. Keep your mysticism. Mythology is not my guide. Zayn, Dalet,
It is paused. There it is.
Slash spin, pressure pressing, like a blast of wind, split beats like sheep, scattered after displeasing thoughts. Take a walk, observing the garden, pruning before the conception of the splice. 50 shades of pepper for your spice, on your cooked rice. A Nazi is the high priest of the same region. The first phase, likened to disorder, the signs of quarter, and still some miss criteria. There's no home. Cough. Son of man or son of God, they're not the same. Keep your mysticism. Mythology is not my guide. Zion, the son of man, has cough. Picturesque image at the break of dawn. Why start your yawn with a yawn? The man would have done better gathering and collecting the thoughts of his father, right next to his disowned son. People running a yard for miles talking yo, which is Yiddish, making people skittish to represent the will of Yahweh. How can there be a city where our Creator resides if mankind is ruled by being a typical pride? Yahweh is the start, yet many miss living according to Joseph's heart. Zion, the son of man, there's no home. Cough, Zion, cough. Son of man or son of God, they're not the same. Keep your mysticism. Mythology is not my guide. Cycles of severity. Time is precious. Like currency, use your potential to be kinetic. Come and flow with me. Sand grains on the beach coming in and leave. Water from the tide, turbulent motion. Polishes wild footprints. Evidence of traffic is no longer seen. Replacement remnants and debris. Driftwood and seaweed. Sun drive, but tingling. Sun drenched for essential vitamins and mineral bath. What's the meaning of life, yeah? Turn your work into utilizing the talent you were born with. Miss me with menial tasks. Cough. Zion. The son of man. Cough. Son of man or son of God. They're not the same.
Once again, I want to thank you all for joining the party. Look forward to seeing you on the next round. Hashem Yahweh Elohim, Shalom Barak. Allahu Assalamu Alaikum, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Father's peace, blessings, and mercy be upon all of you, your families, and your circles. Many much love and respect.